All right, we should be live. Wow, that was quick. I think we are live.
Hi, YouTube.
All right. Let me know when you're ready, Jake.
Now the important thing is, can we not swear in the first 30 seconds of a broadcast?
Sorry,
I'm
YouTube.
gonna duct tape my mouth shut.
Oh, fudge. Well
Nice.
done. Well done.
Okay, Wolf, whenever you're ready.
Hola y bienvenido a Presione B para cancelar. Este día en... I'm sure the wife is in the other room right now going, what in the world did... he just butchered everything.
I just want to say thank you for giving me the cue because I don't speak a lick of Spanish. Being Canadian, I barely speak English and French, so I would not have known that was today on in any other language.
I'm sure it was terrible. I put it through Google Translate.
Okay.
Today on Google Translate.
So today I am joined by Sick Jake.
Yeah,
Say
I'm
hello.
just me. Sure. Glad to be here. No mess on my
Sinistar.
face.
We're also joined by Sinistar77.
Hello. Happy
Howdy.
post Dia de los Muertos.
Yes. And Guy Prime.
Hola, ese color. Look, first of all, no soy mexicano, okay? Soy americano, pero me gusta mucho la cultura mexicana y las personas de México y Mesoamérica. Selma Hayek, de la huerta, te quiero.
Did I hear
Y
you call
tienes mi
yourself a
corazón.
Did I hear you call yourself a dog? I did.
Claro.
I heard perro in there, right?
It also means butt.
Oh.
Y lo siento if my
Not
Spanish
like
is
comma butt.
mierda.
But
You know what?
today
It's still
on
better than mine.
Sorry, Jake, I swore.
We might be okay at this point.
That was what, 2 minutes in? We're okay.
Full disclosure,
we
I
should be
didn't play
okay.
the game this week. I spent all week just putting that together. So.
Well, that mask is top tier, GP. Pretty great work in the mask.
I pulled out Rosetta Stone and spent the week with Rosetta Stone.
I wanted to have a luchador mask. I very much did, but I couldn't find one.
Ah.
I would have had it on because I would have had the mouth hole.
Today we're talking about Guacamelee for most everything at this point, I'm pretty sure. I don't know what it's been released on. I don't know if it's on the Switch. I would
Came
imagine
out
it
the
is.
Switch a couple of years ago, I think. The
Okay.
Serpro Turbo Championship Edition or some such, but it's
Yeah.
recently on that one, yeah.
Linux,
love
Mac
that,
OS, Windows, PlayStation 3, PlayStation Vita, Wii U, Xbox 360, Xbox One, Switch.
Wow. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's on a lot of stuff.
And here I am with the PlayStation like a putz.
The PS5.
Well, I mean, I don't want to flex, but you know.
So before we jump into the nitty gritty of this game, I want to tell you guys a story about when I first saw. I want to say it was in Game Informer, well before it came out. They did an article on it, and so I was reading about it, and I was like, okay, I gotta tell the wife about this because this is interesting and funny. So the main character's name is Juan Agocate, which for those of you who don't know, an agocate is an avocado.
Mm-hmm.
He and this game is all based around Dia de los Muertos and numerous things from Mexican culture. It's really cool. And it's made by a Canadian studio called Drinkbox.
Right.
And it was funny because the more I was reading about it to the wife, she was like, I don't know if I should be offended or impressed.
Yeah, and what's funny, just really quick to mention, you read an article, right? So Drinkbox Studios, before that, they had a game called About a Blob. and that was kind of their intro to gaming. And I watched a talk from one of the creators of Drinkbox Studio where he talked about how one of the things that they changed when they went from About a Blob to Guacamelee is they actually talked to the media. They promoted before release. Like they talked about how they were scared to promote About a Blob because they were, they worried they were going to be exposing all their warts, right?
Mhm.
But like this talk was specifically about what did they change about, producing About a Blob to Guacamelee. And yeah, one of the things was they promoted the hell out of it going forward. So it's kind of cool that you saw that article prior to.
It's neat because we've seen with like Hello Games and No Man's Sky a few episodes back how talking to the media maybe a bit too much was not to their favor. So I'm glad it worked out for Drinkbox. I also didn't realize they're Canadian, so that shows how much research I did this week.
I got to say though, to Werewolf's point, I don't think, because you were talking about how your wife was like, I don't know if I should be offended or impressed. It's a celebration of the culture, and I think that
Oh,
that should
and
be. I mean, it
I
wasn't done
completely
in.
agree. When you
Yeah,
play through the game, you can see, the amount of research that they likely did
yeah.
and how much care went into crafting this game. But the initial reading of the article just sounded so uh I
On
don't
the
like a
nose.
Mel Brooks kind of situation, you know?
Sure,
Sure,
sure.
sure, sure.
Can I step back a second? What's a
Yeah.
Canadian?
It's that, southern neighbor that you guys have. We
Oh,
haven't
right.
quite got the snow yet like you guys do, but
Right.
Uh, the main character is one, and then the secondary character, the co-op character, is Tostada. I thought that
Yes.
was made up
Yes.
for by Taco Bell. Is that actually a real food, or is that just
Yes,
No,
we have
tostada.
tostadas all the time, man.
Yeah.
okay? All right.
A
I thought it was-
Mexican pizza is the made up version of a tostada at Taco
Yeah.
Bell.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
It's
tostada real Mexican
essentially
pizza. No,
Okay.
a Mexican pizza is essentially a double stacked tostada that's nowhere near as good for you.
Right.
brought
But
to you
delicious.
by Whack Arnold.
But yes, get your wacky meal with your
Yeah.
whack
Yeah.
burgers at McDonald's.
So, real quick though, before we get too far, just in case any of the viewers tonight are not familiar, I did the homework. I know what this game is about, as I know you all are. But if you want to explain it to the listeners and the viewers, like they don't know anything about the game and spent their week doing other things, maybe do that, and then we'll please.
Okay. Guacamelee is a Metroidvania at its core, but it's more of a beat 'em up than traditional Metroidvanias usually are. Because every move you get that allows you to move forward, one, some of them will actually give you new methods of traversal, more maneuverability and such, but they allow you to literally break through a new type of block. Like it's never just, now you can jump higher. It's usually you can break these now. You can break these now.
Mhm.
Like they kind of hit you over the head with just how silly some of the aspects of
Mhm.
this game are.
Like you're doing an
And
uppercut, like a flying uppercut, which is great for movement, but also it's an attack. Yeah.
yeah,
Right. So it's got the whole Metroidvania thing, but then also kind of shades of like Shovel Knight and River City Ransom. You know, that new one
My
that came out a couple years ago,
yeah.
and
But
my
with
it's
the Mexican thing.
comparison is actually Ori and the Blind Forest.
I have not
I don't
played that
know.
yet.
Yeah.
So
on my list.
two years later, Ori and the Blind Forest, which has the Metroidvania platform, with abilities that you earn, but also kind of much like Guacamelee, locks you into battles, right? Like you get into an area and you get locked into a battle, and that happens as well in Ori. So I would say it's like Metroidvania meets Mega Man boss battles.
Yeah, that's fair. It's got some pretty heavy duty platforming
Hmm.
that they've challenging platforming that
Oh,
I find super interesting. I did so much in this game. I think I did all the extra content after you beat it and everything. Like I had a blast.
Wow.
But
yeah. Speaking of the platforming, there's one portion where there's like a half a platform that comes out, and there's spoiler alert. We are going to talk spoilers. Sorry, folks. Came out in 2013. Um,
Practically retro. Come on.
right. I mean, previous generation. Well, 2 generations back, PlayStation 3. But like you drop down from the platform into the little portal that converts it between Land of the Living and the Land of the Dead, and then you immediately have to do an uppercut to get onto the next platform that then appears. Like
Mhm.
it's some heavy duty platforming that's like very, very specific timing.
Kind of like Celeste, but with punches. That's what it kind of
Yeah.
reminds me of.
Or
But it's
or
more
Meat Boy.
Metroidvania or Meat
Or
Boy.
Meat
Yeah.
Boy. Yeah.
Like it's some of them
Right.
are actually quite difficult traversal, right? Like the one I saw that stands out was it's an open room and there's these columns and there's spikes on top and you have to do the uppercut to kind of move across. The uppercut kind of reminds me of Symphony of the Night has the Richter mode you can unlock. And it's like that game was built for, a la carte, but when you're trying to go through with Richter and you're using all his trumped up moves like slides and jumps and uppercuts, it doesn't feel quite right. It works, but it doesn't feel like you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. It feels like you're breaking every scene to get through to the level. But that's just how the
So
game plays.
I want to talk about right now how the uppercut how there's more than one way to skin each cat. Because I think the room that you're talking about where there are spikes as you kind of jump over to the next wall. You did the uppercut to get over the spikes. I actually hit the left trigger to do the little block move as I went
Oh,
past.
okay.
So there's
Interesting.
more than one way to skin this cat, right? Which that's
Yeah.
cool.
And later on, you find yourself doing that kind of stuff all the time. You're just
Mhm,
constantly jumping between the land of the living and the land of the dead,
mhm.
and using all your abilities to just get around a room through this, what is essentially a double-sided puzzle as you navigate these portals and the walls and everything that just keeps
Right.
changing when you go through the portals. It's great.
Yeah, so I love a game that has more than one way. I love when we talk about it and Jake is like, I did the uppercut to get past these spikes, and I'm like, oh, I did the little block maneuver to get past the spikes. I mean, yeah.
Yeah, especially when like a lot of Metroidvanias are not that open at all, right? Once you've unlocked the item you need, that's it. You use that item. So I didn't quite realize there's different ways to get through the rooms with different power-ups. That's actually really interesting. It's definitely a unique game for sure. Both in just I like, for example, like it feels like Symphony of the Night, it feels like a Metroidvania, but you're right when you're doing the combat's like a beat 'em up. I like how you can grab enemies and you can throw them in any direction, basically. That feels so
Yes.
wildly out of place for a Metroidvania, but it's fun. It's different. I like that part
Yeah.
a lot.
It is, and especially when you have multiple people playing. So
Right.
I was playing with my kid yesterday, and that's the footage I collected for us to play in the background of this. Um, but while we were playing, I noticed that it's apparently up to 4 players. That would
Really?
just be
No.
mayhem. Yeah, at the top
What?
you constantly see like player 3 press start, player 4 press start. I was like,
Oh,
"Holy
wow.
crap. This is wild."
I thought it
Huh.
was only a 2-player game. I didn't realize it was up to that many players.
Yeah,
Is that the new
I did
version,
too.
maybe, or no?
It's Super Turbo Championship Edition. I
Okay,
would imagine it's been there since at least that released.
interesting.
That is where they introduced 4-player cooperative. Just looking at
Okay.
at my mind palace.
And just so it's not confusing, like you don't all look like the same character if you don't want to. There are unlockable costumes in this game that you can, as you do challenges and stuff, you get silver instead of gold. Silver is what you spend on uh, cosmetic upgrades, whereas gold is what you spend on actual ability upgrades and
Mm.
things that make your character stronger. So you earn both as you go through. You just earn a lot more gold. So you find like all these different costumes that are themed around various aspects of Mexican culture for the most part. Some are just tongue-in-cheek jokes based on things that are happening. And like there's a lot of chickens in this game. So one of them is just a chicken soup, right? And in the footage here, you'll see, the characters look like Spider-Man and the Tick. Now, that's because the game has mod support.
Oh, so this is not official. My mind was
No, it
blown
is
when I saw
not
this video.
official.
Okay.
So I was like, somebody made the Tick and somebody made Spider-Man. So this will be me and the kiddo. It's perfect.
I love
That's
that. 'Cause I
awesome.
thought it was
Broke
official.
my
I'm like, how the hell
chickens.
they pull that off for an indie game? Like the Tick
I have-
license,
yeah.
Spider-Man.
I have the toughest chickens around. That guy. So honestly, the dialogue in this game, well, you
yeah.
said tongue in cheek,
Oh
but there are some
man.
very direct jokes, and then there are
Oh
some
yeah.
kind of higher thought, I guess, jokes
I'll
that are
have
just
to
very,
I'll
very
have
good.
to ask your mom out after you've, defeat the bad guy. Like,
Yeah.
just love it.
There's definitely jokes in this game that beat you over the head with them. And then there's some that sneak underneath, and then some that try to sneak underneath and then they beat you over the head with them. Like,
hmm
they've got a great sense of humor, which actually shows in a new game, well, a newer game that they released called Nobody Saves the World that I've been playing lately with a friend of mine. When I first loaded it up, he was excited to play it. He was like, "It's supposed to be funny. It's supposed to be fun." So we loaded it up, and I was like, "Drinkbox, oh, I'm in for a treat."
Nice.
And it is
Nice.
very much, that same sense of humor going through it. It's just the amount of puns and
hmm
Mexican culture jokes this makes, not at the expense of Mexican culture, but
Right.
sometimes just words, sometimes just I don't know how to describe it, but and sometimes it's just naming conventions, like Jaguar Javier. It sounds silly,
Yeah.
but
Right.
It's avocado, which is guacamole.
yeah, Juan
Guacamole.
Aguacate. And even in
My
in the
Canadian
second
showing.
game, I know in the first few minutes they make all sorts of jokes about you being the last one. You're the only
Right.
one that can save us.
Which let's not just glaze over the Shyamalan level twist at the beginning of the game.
Right.
Oh, yeah, because right off the bat, like the first thing that happens is you go to try and save the damsel in distress, and you're murdered.
Yeah. You just get up. You just get
Straight
just
up,
full up
killed.
murdered.
Yeah.
5 minutes in, you're just poor Juan dies.
Yeah.
I'm like, is this a Dead Souls or Dark Souls? Like, oh look, I got murdered as part of the beginning of the game.
Yeah.
And then seconds later, he finds a luchador mask that gives him the power to come back to the land of the living and gives him super strength and superpowers and all this. So it essentially makes him a superhero. And Tostada shows up in the land of the dead to tell him this. And then she's just on the adventure with Juan.
Which is great.
And then, of course, pulling all sorts of popular memes into the game, like Grumpy Cat,
So many.
right?
Mhm.
Like you see the little posters, and it's the Mexican art version of Grumpy Cat, right? I love it.
Yeah. And then you've
Yeah.
got like Mega Hombre and El Hero and
It kind of reminds me of a
Los
game
Super
version.
Hermanos.
It kind of reminds me of a game version of Three Amigos.
Kind
Like,
of.
Yeah.
El Guapo.
Guapo.
Yeah.
Some of the jokes, like people won't even get anymore if they weren't around on the internet at the time.
Yeah.
One of them is like you see two faces, and one, for me, I clearly know who they are. It's the Oh Really Owl and the Yeah Really Owl from what is it? Oh my gosh, I can't read. Punch the keys for God's sake. It's not that one, it's the other one. You're the man now, dog. YTMND.
Right.
Okay.
Ooh,
So they-
I have to throw out there is if You're the Man Now dog still exists,
It
I'm on
does.
there. I'm on there.
Who needs
And-
Twitter? If you're the man now, dog. That's a new
Well-
social space for us.
Reaching
It-
back
it-
to the
it-
early days of luchador adjacent things, I've had so many strong bad feelings and memories going through my blood this week.
There's even a strong bad reference in the game.
Yep.
Good. Yeah.
Do you use your powers for good or for awesome?
I mean, there's literally a character painted on a wall that looks, you could tell he's strong bad.
Yeah.
It's great.
By the way,
No,
my
it-
friends and I had a discussion. Awesome is apparently both a subset of good and evil, because for good or for awesome.
Ah,
by reasoning of logic, yes.
I'm just watching this footage, and then like the last 30 seconds, there's got to be at least a dozen different Easter eggs or in jokes from other video games, from Zelda,
Oh, yeah.
Majora's Mask to freaking. I saw the Grumpy Cat. Like that's wild. I know before this recording, Sinistar, on offline, you were showing you're talking to us about you were playing it, and you're like,
Yes.
you want to explain like what you saw, and you're like, is this what I think it is?
we're long enough in that I can use some words. I think I referred to it as, is that a fucking Metroid? And then followed up with, oh yeah, that's a fucking Metroid.
Yeah, you followed it up with that as you were filming the screen with a Chuzo statue.
Yes, instead of a Chozo.
Mhm.
Uh-huh.
A chorizo? Is that what kind of statue it is?
Yeah, well, okay, that's where I went with it too. I'm like, why did they not call it a chorizo?
That's true. That would have been kind of funny to call it a chorizo statue.
Come on, Canada, get on it.
And delicious. It would have been delicious too.
I
Yeah.
need to hear the country itself apologize for missing the obvious.
Well, it is what we're good at.
Sorry.
What's Canadian?
Apologizing is our national export.
You know, one of my favorite Canada jokes is somebody says, just wait until Canada takes over the world, then you'll all be sorry.
Ah!
It has nothing to do with the game. I just wanted to tell that.
So Jake, you're saying the gross domestic product is apologies.
Apologies. Yeah, that's how we save the world, with apologies. One batch of poutine at a time.
Delicious.
So I was, when I saw the article about this game initially, I was so excited because I'm from Southern California, so I grew up kind of knowing about the Day of the Dead, Dia de los Muertos. And my favorite band is Oingo Boingo, and their aesthetic leans heavily into that. So even more so, I always thought it was really cool. And so when this game was announced, I was like, oh. And I gotta say, like, the art style, the feel, the music, oh my goodness, the guitars and horns is wonderful in this game.
This has an OST that I think was actually like well received outside of just existing in the game.
Like, this is a soundtrack that I would absolutely listen to without playing the game.
Real quick, I'm sorry if I may ask, because now it's bugging me. Oingo Boingo, it's a Dead Man's Party.
Yes.
Jay Beckenstein, sax player.
What? Oh, I don't know.
No.
Okay.
Danny Elfman.
The horn section was Leon Schneiderman, Sam Phipps, and Dale Turner. So
okay, my bad. I'm sorry.
I mean, he's got. They're washed out a little bit, but I can see only a lad for sure as the second one down.
Yes.
Okay, my bad. Got my wires confused. But Dead Man's Party, classic song.
Yes. Not even their best. Anyway, we digress.
Yes.
Tangents abound. We do.
If it wasn't a press B, it wouldn't be full of pet tangents.
Correct. So what are your guys' experiences with this? Jake, have you played this before this week?
So it was on my list of games to try out. I do like playing a lot of these the indie titles, and I do like Metroidvanias. And it was around the same time I was trying to get into Hollow Knight, and I had Game Pass at the time, and this was on Game Pass, so I gave it a go. I saw that it had co-op, so I was going to play with my kids, but maybe they're just a little too young at the time for it. So I ended up playing it solo. I'll be honest with you, I got maybe an hour into it, and it kind of put me to sleep. I don't know why, because like the music is fantastic. I like the puns, I like the humor. The graphic style is pretty cool. I really dig the it's almost like Samurai Jack in just the way it's that angular cartoon style. I like it quite a bit, but something about the gameplay just wasn't gripping me. Maybe I just didn't resonate with the combat, I guess, because there's a lot of combat, it feels like, in this game.
Oh, there's a ton, and I think it's a blast. I'm not usually a fighting game kind of player, and this, and by that I should probably clarify it. Fighting game like Streets of Rage or that sort of thing.
Yeah, beat 'em
it
up
is
for sure.
Very much arcade beat 'em up style, just not with the depth, right? And it's not usually my thing, and I love this game. The combat is just so fluid and wacky.
It is oddball weird in the best possible way. Like even without the mods. Like the giant chickens for no reason whatsoever. Like some of the characters you come across are just wild.
They're called Pollo Gigantes, but yes.
Again, I don't know anything you're saying. I barely speak French, so I don't know anything about Spanish.
Chicken cacciatore?
My kid came in yesterday going, "Hey, you want to play that?" Because I had mentioned it to him. And I was like, "Yeah, let's do it." So that's why when we recorded the footage, and he
Mm.
had a lot of fun. He struggled a little bit with some of the deeper combos and the fighting mechanics,
Sure.
but for the most part, he had a blast. And the fact that he can die and then 10 seconds later he's back in the fray as long as
Yeah.
I didn't die, it makes it so much less stressful. So it's definitely a lot of fun multiplayer.
That's the only reason
on.
why like my kids and I like to play Mario Maker stuff together, is because as long as one person's still alive, you can still keep going. And when you're not
Right.
putting that pressure on your kids to stay alive in these kind of games, it's totally a lot more fun. Yeah.
And that's what it's like in terms of the multiplayer. Like if you play New Super Mario Brothers in multiplayer, if one person falls in a pit, they come back up in a bubble, right? That kind of happens in this. Like I don't know if you've noticed in the gameplay on the footage I've got, but every once in a while you see this blue bubble just floating around, and that's my son who got left behind on screen or is respawning or accidentally hit a button combination.
So you were asking experience with this game, and I had to look it up.
Yes.
So I got this as a humble bundle. I got the gold edition as a humble bundle. I got it on February 4th, 2014. So almost a year after it was released. And I played it, and I remember that I got stuck, and I specifically remember I got stuck in a part that I couldn't jump back to the tier that I needed to be. And when I played it this week, I don't know what was wrong with me in 2014, but it was the super uppercut mechanic, right? Which I learned from the Chuzo, right? Yeah. Like, so I definitely got further. But there's also, it's very interesting. There's also like a very steep difficulty, like almost hockey stick. I got to a point where, and I can't remember the evil lady's name, the one with kind of the flowing hair, right? That kind of flows behind her.
Yeah. I don't remember her name either, unfortunately.
And she says, "Oh, we'll fight at some point," and disappears. And then you get thrown into a fight where it's the armadillos that, turn into fire and attack you. And then there's one of the giant, like, robot-y things that shows up. And I keep getting just beaten down at that point. And so you mentioned that your son had a problem with the combos and I'm your son, apparently. So, hi, Dad.
Hi,
It's
son.
either I'm, a early teen-ish age, or I'm over 40 and I just can't do it anymore. But I had a blast getting there for sure. And I love the art style. I love the dialogue. I love the chickens. I did the chicken quest where you try to get them all into the little, container, right? And you just smack them and they turn red and get angry. And honestly, I probably spent way too long at that just beating chickens about, because, why not?
Because you could beat the crap out of them and then grab them and body slam them.
Right. Oh yeah, the body slams are glorious, because if I'm like, one of the reasons that I struggle with that fight is the previous fights, when there was multiple people on the screen, I'd beat somebody until I had the grab icon show up. I'd grab them and I just throw them into everybody else, and it would kind of give me that little break, right? Like, okay, I have a break. I can now, like, recollect and fight again. And I'm having a hard time in the current fight. So
that, like, when you do that, it adds to your combo counter, right? When they hit it, like the enemy hits all the other enemies, those are added to your hit combo as you go. The bigger your hit combo, I think the more money you're rewarded with after combat, or at least when the combo stops being counted and resets. So it's kind of nice. Like it really encourages you to get good at the combat without punishing you for not being good at the combat.
I feel like I'm in the
money
punishment phase. The money gets you upgrades to stamina and life, and then you regenerates and like all of that stuff. So, and each one has a dollar figure to it.
Okay.
Yeah,
but all
and
the moves
you also
itself you find though. You don't buy the moves though.
Right. You can unlock new hit combos with money as well, but not actual like super moves.
Okay. So that is like River City Ransom then, really, with
Right.
the buying of combos.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I was kind of getting that from. And to kind of go along with the what is everybody's experience with the game, I didn't know this game existed until the name itself started kind of being floated, which shouldn't shock too many people, me being a very out of touch retro gamer. Uh, and then this was a very busy week for me, but I, of course, made time to sit down, watch it, and I watched a couple different, abbreviated playthroughs and, all that. But I gotta say, this was one of the games where, and this is kind of rare for me, I didn't mind watching the longer plays of a game that I
Right.
didn't know from people I
Right.
didn't know. And typically you can always tell, with our Press B episodes, whether or not I know anything about the game because either I'm here or I'm not. And this is even though I have no experience with this game outside of the reviews and the playthroughs, I really was like excited to be a part of this episode, and I was very much looking forward to tonight, not just hanging out with you, hombres, but to discuss this game in particular. And for me, that speaks a lot to the game because that doesn't happen frequently. And
Mi hermano.
yeah, también.
Corazón. Corazón. Yeah.
Okay. I see you. But I will say this: my very first impression of watching, game footage of this was this looks like the Emperor's New Groove had like a
Yes.
flashback scene,
Yeah,
know what I mean?
totally the same
And-
style.
and it was-
Especially with the goat man.
yes.
When he transforms from the goat into a human or
Sherpa?
vice versa. It's
I love
huge.
I love
Huge
the
Emperor's New Groove vibes. I love it.
I love the goat man. I love the fact that
Yeah.
every time you destroy the statues, he gets pissed. And then he's
Yeah.
like turns from goat into dude, and he's like, yeah, I might as well teach you the move.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, like you're putting them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, but no, this is wildly not ingenuity. That's not the right word, but it was creative. It seemed original for being as derivative. I mean, how do you say something's original when you also say it's based on a culture and Metroidvania? It takes from all these things, but it's 2 + 2 = 7 in my opinion with this.
I can actually talk about that because I watched that. It was a GDC conf, so it was a Games Done Quick conf, where the one of the originators of Drinkbox talked about it, and he said one of the changes that they made from their previous game was no matter what, they basically had a rule of saying yes. So if somebody had an idea, they basically said, put it in the game. Put it in the game. We'll try it out. And then they had, of course, they had basically a veto power at the end of it. But they basically said, throw it in there and we'll see. And that's honestly how a lot of the culture pulled into it. Like the memes and stuff that they pulled in. And yeah, a lot of the moves, the chickens, I think the chickens were somebody was like, let's put chickens in the game. And it just stuck. Flame Face, which is one of the bad guys, was something that somebody was like, what bad guys should we have? And somebody in a room was like, yeah, we should have, a bad guy that's just got a flaming face. And it became one of the big principles, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's great.
So-
And that's I think, was it a Disney principle where everything is a yes, but it's either yes if, or yes but. And I think
Right.
if you can always find a way to do that, you'll come up with something special. But yeah, I've heard of that kind of cultural thing, in corporations. So it's cool to see that it worked out so well here.
Yeah. And like I said, you can really tell the love and interest they had for Mexican culture when creating this. It's so cool because they don't directly make fun of Mexican culture. They make fun of what is seen as probably, American or internet culture
Right.
through this lens of this Mexican fictional world,
Yeah. I want to know what the art style. I tried to look it up, but I want to know what that art style is, where it's like the velvet paintings, but it's like the kind of hard lines, and you see it a lot in the Dia los Muertos, art, right? And I couldn't find the name for it, but I love that art. I love that
Yeah.
art.
Yeah,
So-
I gotta say with you, I'm very into the Mexican culture. I'm afraid that anything I say is going to seem not worthy of the level of praise that I should heap on it. But I'm with you. Whether it's the aesthetic or just kind of the cultural feel, the foods, the music, I love it all, and I celebrate all of it whenever possible. Also, margaritas. So yeah,
Mm.
Yeah, I don't think this is a game that I think it's not making fun of. It's not exploitive. Not like it very very easily could have been, but it's not.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and that's the
it
good thing
was
to
it was
see.
done the right way, in
Yeah.
my opinion. Yeah.
Yeah, it wasn't. What's the term where like it wasn't stolen, right? It wasn't a culture stolen.
Appropriated
It
or
was a culture honored. Yeah, appropriated.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was a culture honored. Really, I think by
Yeah.
what it looks like and feels to me. Like I never looked at it as like, ooh, cringe. You
I
know.
played through a good chunk of it with the wife, and for those of you who are unaware, my wife is originally from Mexico. So she approved of a lot of things that happened in this game. So
And huge
That's
shout
really
out.
what you want.
Huge
You want
shout out
somebody
to
from-
Wife Wolf.
Yes.
thank
You want somebody from the culture playing the game and saying, it do be like that, though. Like, that's exactly right. That's the stamp of authenticity. I love it.
Yeah, if you're playing it and you say your wife who's Mexican is like sitting there going,
Yeah, she was
You
not
know,
cringy.
like-
She was
This feels wrong.
okay, let me turn off the PlayStation. Let's turn on a movie.
Those pollos are gigante, though.
Oh yes. Wait, what did you say?
Those are giant chickens.
Oh yeah.
the size of those chickens is whack.
Wait, that was Young Guns, wasn't it? Have you guys seen the size of those chickens?
I don't remember that.
Was that
They're
Estevez?
all
Emilio
they're all
Estevez?
on. One of them. They're all on peyote.
And I was like, Emilio, the mighty duck man, I swear to God.
Yeah, and he's shooting his gun into the sky, and he's just high on peyote, and he's like, "Did you guys see the size of those chickens?" Apparently, that's how Guacamelee started. I'm sticking to that story.
The secret
Yes,
origins of
that's true.
Guacamelee is in Young Guns. Yeah.
So it's you can see it right off the start of the game too. When you first launch the game and start a new file, you leave Juan's house, and he's an agave farmer,
Mm,
Yeah.
which is used to make tequila, I
Tequila.
believe, right? Yeah.
tequila.
Yeah.
So it's really cool. Just the attention to detail with all these little things that they put it in.
Mhm.
And yeah, but not to steal a bit from John Mulaney, but can you imagine what the pitch had to be like in the room for this? Because it sounds, I think if you're pitching it, it's going to sound appropriated or, essentially, okay, so you're an agave farmer, Juan Avocado, and there's another person, her name is Tostada. And, yes, the whole thing does seem, but
So-
the execution was there.
And you're a
We're up-
luchador. Still
And
we're
you're
with
a
up
me.
here-
luchador.
We're up here in Toronto, Canada, and I have an idea.
Yeah.
It involves luchadors, and everybody in the room is like,
And her name is Tostada. Oh, like a Mexican pizza. Yeah, sure. Go ahead. Sure.
I'm not the only one who thought that. That's great.
And I mean, I love it because the character that he's out to save is El
Mm.
Presidente's daughter.
right,
She doesn't even get a name.
right, which is kind of unfortunate in 2022.
I agree, but I
2020,
mean,
yeah.
you've also got another woman fighting alongside Juan, so it's
Sure, no,
there's
I get
give
that.
and
I get
take
that.
in it, I guess. But like the fact that the main character, like the main villain, is this mariachi guy, and
Mhm.
then one of the other villains, or I'm gonna get into spoilers now with the story. The woman, I don't know how to pronounce it. I know it's not Extabe, but that's how it's spelled. She's like constantly trying to get back to Carlos Calaca, the mariachi guy, instead of dealing with Juan because she wants to be with him. You start to see this unfold as you're going through the game where she's in love with him, and it's kind of unrequited. And so she's jealous of the fact that El Presidente's daughter is with him. So she wants to get to him, right? So I love the layers that are in this game. It's
Sure.
not everybody is just bad to be bad. Everybody has their driving force as to why they're doing what they're doing. It's not two-dimensional for anyone, for the most
Right.
part.
which takes heavily from the Spanish telenovelas.
Mm,
And yeah, I stand by that one as
Yeah.
well. Yeah. From
some
everything
nice.
that I gather from watching this and the reviews and things like that, it seems like the biggest complaint most people have is that there's not more of the game. 'Cause I mean, you can beat
There's a
this
second
game.
one.
Well, yeah, there's a second one now. But you know, at the time that this came out, that people are doing these reviews, it's, you know, if you're trying to be completionist, what, 9 to maybe 12 hours. First
Okay, I
playthroughs
thought
could
it was
be,
longer
you
than
know,
that, but okay.
Yeah,
So
I
only
think I
9 to 10
got like
hours.
yeah, I have about 10 hours and 20 minutes or something on my file where I did just about everything.
okay.
Okay.
I can't
But-
remember what it was, but the talk that I watched, the guy mentioned that even though they'd lined up, you know, they'd been talking to the press the whole time, they'd sent out like play tests, they'd done the whole thing. It went up against some heavy. They had no idea that they were releasing against, and I'm blanking on the games, but when they said the names, I was like, ooh, yeah, you're lucky you made it. Like,
BioShock Infinite, I think, came out around the same time, if I'm not wrong.
could have been, yeah.
See. It's
But
2013, right?
it
Right.
was, but
Yeah, April 2013.
yeah, let's see if I can. Let me search my mind.
Yeah, Mind Palace time.
In the meantime, while you guys are all doing research, let's celebrate some of the more famous luchadors. There was the Masked Muscle from Super Punch Out. Of course, Nacho Libre, Jack Black.
So it came out alongside what? Dragon's Dogma, Dead Island Riptide, Lego City Undercover.
one of the Bionic Commandos. I remember that. It was one of the Bionic Commandos.
Injustice, Gods Among Us.
By Bionic Commando. Guacamelee.
Yeah.
This is what I need. This is that sweet
Mhm.
spot. That's what I need.
Yeah.
Juice box.
One of the
Make it happen.
Dishonored games. I mean, it just Shin Mega Tensei. I think maybe you said that one. I mean, it came out. It was a fight, right? It
Yeah.
was.
I gotta ask
So-
something for this game. So it came out. It's had a couple of re-releases. So the Turbo Championship Edition, which is poking fun at Street Fighter.
Street Fighter 2.
What changed in the re-releases? Did they add anything especially different?
So
I think
four-player-
the original version had DLCs, and then Gold version had those DLCs built in. And then
the Super
Super
Mega
Turbo
Turbo was
added
4-player.
4-player.
Okay, got it.
So, and I don't even know if you can get them besides Super Turbo Championship Edition on Steam anymore or anything like that. So,
I don't
So
think
this
you
is kinda
probably
fun.
can't, Yeah.
This is kind of fun. I got the Humble Bundle, and I've been playing the Gold Edition. I went and looked at my Humble Bundle library, and apparently in 2018 they updated it so I have the Super Turbo Championship Edition. I need to activate it on Steam. Apparently,
Yeah, I
there
think we're
was
gonna have to
no,
buy
there
this
was
one. If you guys
a
ever want to play it together, we should.
Mm,
I think there was a
Yeah.
big Freedom bundle at the time. If you purchased that, that's what it was in.
could have been.
Yeah,
Um,
this would be wild as 4 players. I'd like to play this in a multiplayer. Like 2 is
Yeah,
interesting, but
as-
4 would be wild with
now-
this.
Let's
now
do
I'm
it.
curious. Does this have online play? I've never looked into that.
Oh, that's
Even if
Oh,
it doesn't, there's
got
always Steam co-op online or Parsec.
That's
and
true,
yeah.
and with the amount of leeway they give you, when if you have 4 people playing, as long as one's still alive, it's not a game over. So
Yeah.
So here's the question. One of the main mechanics of this game, there are these portals that you can go through, and then they take you from the land of the living to the land of the dead. There are certain boss fights and points in which I think one of the boss fights is you got to find him in one of those 2 worlds, and then you can fight him a little while you're there, but then he'll teleport to the next one, but leave some bad guys behind in the other realm for you to fight, and you got to switch back and forth. If you got 4 people going and one person goes through to the other realm, does everybody have to go?
yes, it swaps
Yes.
the entire screen.
Okay.
yeah.
See, yeah, they're right there in the video game
and
footage.
this-
It just
It
give you
says
examples.
remote play together, so this is not online built in.
That's okay.
Well,
around it.
kind of, except for remote play together is you invite people in your Steam list, and they
Yeah.
and they,
Yeah.
yeah. It's essentially Steam Link over the internet, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it's still worth a play. Definitely a game you should consider playing with your kids if you're a parent and you like Metroidvanias and you like beat 'em ups and you want something that your kid is not going to get too stressed out with. When learning new moves and combos, you might want to let them just float around in the bubble for the time so that way they don't have to stress out over learning these too, because it makes everybody who's active try the move.
Mm.
So once we figured out that he was struggling with that, he went into a bubble. Oh, I just skipped right past it. So it's a very forgiving game if you have young children who are not great at this type of game but want to play with you.
Unless you're almost 47 and you get to a point and you just can't get past it.
Have you played the sequel then, Wolf, or no?
I haven't. I got it when it came out because I was so excited.
Yeah.
But I haven't made the time to play it yet. So I might just play through the first game with kiddo and then play the second game with him.
I'm curious to actually. I did not realize the studio made more than just this game. I feel bad now because I should know my people and my fellow Canadians and what games they're putting out. So I guess they've done
Sorry.
Guacamelee 1 and 2. Sorry, yeah. I didn't realize they had other titles. I want to actually look at what else they've done because this game is very polished. Animations are very smooth. It looks great. I just wish it vibed with me a bit more. But I can't fault it for the game. The game just looks fantastic and sounds so good.
Well, they also did, like I said, Nobody Saves the World, and that is also up to 4 players, and it's an action RPG.
Nobody Saves the World? I don't think I know that one.
Nobody Saves the World. It's a lot of fun. Drinkbox knows what they're doing, and I'm happy about this.
I kind of like that they're a team with not a super large quantity of games. Like it definitely is like they have picked specifically what they want to do, right?
Yes.
After Guacamelee, Severed, after Severed, Guacamelee 2, and after that, Nobody Saves the World. I mean, it's like every 2 years they release a game.
Never even
So-
heard of Nobody Saves the World. I'm looking at it now. It actually looks pretty decent.
It's a ton
Huh.
of fun.
Okay. No, these guys were just not on my radar, unfortunately. I have to check them out. This is really cool.
Sorry.
Yeah, so sorry. Yeah.
See, I have no
Sorry,
interest
Canada.
in looking into Nobody Saves the World. I'm sure it's great, but having just now discovered Guacamelee, I want to properly celebrate this.
But Nobody Saves the World says it's on PlayStation 5.
And as
Yeah, but this
our
is on the Switch,
established
right? I can play
PS5
this with my-
correspondent, GP, you are obligated to play every PS5 release.
Yes.
Thank goodness all the PS5 games so far have been really short. We started with The Quarry, which hasn't gotten super scary yet, but so far it's a playable movie. There's no gameplay except for the occasional like hold the direction button, and that's it. Which I mean,
But it has
it's
the
still fun,
delicious
but-
boy from Santa Clarita Diet.
Yeah, all of the actors are wonderful. I think it's a very well cast game, and this is what the episode's about. But I'm excited for it to get scary. This is when my wife was like, "I want a PS5 and I want it for this game," and so I got that for us for our anniversary, and it's been a blast so far. I'm excited to finish it, but I'm excited to
So-
get into a game that has gameplay.
Persona 5, whatever, at 100 hours. You're going to have that done next week, right? We're going to talk about that.
About that.
I mean, I'll give you a choice: Persona 5 Royal
Oh,
or
no.
Marvel Snap.
Stop.
Both are solid games.
I knew it was going to Marvel Snap.
I
knew
want to
it
do
was
a Marvel Snap just so Jake and I can do a little pop-up short episode together.
It's short.
It-
I could
It
talk
can be
about
so
Marvel
short
Snap.
we can call it Marvel Snapchat.
Oh boy.
I feel like we're going to be stepping
then
on
we'll
some
delete it the
legal
next
toes
day.
there.
Yeah, can we just snap that episode and be done with it?
No, that's
Yeah.
just
Last-
cuts it
look,
in half.
I
That'd be a
just got out of
two-parter.
that lawsuit with my idea about instant teddygrams. I can't talk about it.
I don't want to ask. I don't want to
Instagrams.
ask. Oh,
There we are.
okay. Sorry. It's a
No,
Friday
that's
and
okay.
I've been drinking water.
In your defense, it was a very stupid joke on my part, so no worries.
It took me a moment to get to, but I did get there eventually.
Nice.
Well,
I've heard that before from, you know what?
I've had a water so far.
About a fifth of water.
Yes.
The official drink of McDonald's. Red Solo cup full of water.
McDonald's.
You got that agave juice in there?
It's it shares some similarities. It's appropriated, the agave.
Honestly, tequila sounds very good right now.
Wait,
Yeah,
If it's not from Juan Avocado, I send it back.
Only the best.
So, did you ever finish this, Wolf?
Oh, absolutely. I loved the crap out of this game. And now that my kid seems to be enjoying it, like I said, I'm going to see if he wants to keep playing it. If he doesn't, I might just move on to the second one and just play it for me. If he does, I'll keep playing it with him because this is a lot of fun.
Because your kid, with your wife's heritage, have you thought, as somebody from not that heritage, you should try to teach your son that is not at all hyperbolic, and that's just how it is in their culture, and be like, "This is your birthright, kiddo."
We don't want him to get divorced, GP.
You're 12 years old. Here's your luchador mask. You're required to wear it from now on.
It's
Coming
time
of
you knew
age
the
story.
truth,
Put
son.
on the mask.
Right.
No,
Right.
he's pretty well educated in
That's good.
Mexican culture as he goes through life. Whenever we come up with something new, sometimes she'll bring stuff up and be like, "This is a thing," and then she'll explain it to him, and he's very proud of the fact that he's half Mexican.
Good.
That's
Also,
of course.
great. It's
sorry,
for no other
Wife
reason
Wolf.
than to get Wife Wolf to roll her eyes and be like, "That's not true."
Oh, that's what I was just saying. I was saying also, sorry, Wife Wolf.
Of course, I like to poke fun at her because we did the 23andMe, I think it was, or something like that. We did one of those, and she came back as 24% Mexican. So every once in a while, he'll be like, "I'm half Mexican." I'll be like, 12%.
Wow. So, Press B to cancel has been canceled.
Yeah.
12%
It's
cancel.
okay. Good run.
12%.
12% canceled.
No,
Yes,
no.
well-
I love Mexican culture. I think it's great. The food is
Oh,
wonderful. The way
I do too.
like I love how often my wife is like, "Man, you guys do everything so sad. Your birthday song is sad. Your funerals are just no emotion."
So my father spoke obviously English as a primary, but Portuguese and Spanish as well. And every birthday he would call everybody and he would sing happy birthday in like every language he knew. And he would do a Spanish version of the American happy birthday song that sounds just as sad.
Yeah.
But then he would sing the the Latin version, and I'm like, oh my god, that's actually beautiful. Like that's
It is.
It's kind of lilting and kind of like carries, and you're like, wow, we are sad.
Yeah, like even Feliz cumpleaños a ti. It sounds so depressing.
Right. It's just sad. It's just sad.
Who wrote the birthday song in a minor key? Come on, guys.
No, don't sing it. We're gonna get copyright strike.
That's
the people who own that. It's so bad.
Although I think they proved
Thought it was
that's out of
declared public
copyright.
domain.
Yes,
I think it is
it's
now.
been.
Is it?
I think
believe
so. I think
There
only
were
a
two
couple ways
entities
to
that were
find out.
claiming ownership, and neither could actually prove the chain of ownership of how it got to
right.
them.
Interesting.
So
Yeah.
it was like, public
In
domain.
fact, I think they had to pay a whole bunch of people back, if I remember right.
Really?
Well, I'm still waiting.
Yeah.
Still waiting for my
Yeah.
check. But
Yeah. Well,
That'd be
it's in the mail.
it's fine.
But
Oh,
no,
wow,
if you
you're
do
right. Oh,
yeah,
shit.
if you do Guacamelee 2, I have a request. And I know that this
Okay.
isn't for everybody, but for those of us, maybe do it in the Press B and maybe put it on YouTube. But I'd love to watch
Yeah,
it.
I'd probably do that.
Yeah, same.
Especially just because the second game, and minor spoilers, because this is stuff that happens in the first few minutes, it's a multiverse-based game.
Mm.
And there's a reason you're the last one.
Mm.
It's because all the
last
other ones
Juan?
have been killed.
The last Juan.
So you're the only one who can save everyone. This
Did
is like
you all-
literally the only thing I know about the second game. And I was
Did
like, oh my gosh, this is awesome.
Did you all hear about the Mexican week on the British Bake Off show?
No.
Yes, I saw memes about
So,
it.
so
That's it.
at the beginning, they said we're not going to do any puns or jokes or whatever at the expense of the culture. And one of the other people said, "Not even Juan." And every time you keep saying like you're the last Juan, I'm like, oh, British Bake Off, sad.
I love the
So
British
but
Bake Off though.
this like Drinkbox really leans into the puns and the obvious jokes a lot.
Yeah.
So it
Mhm.
works.
But they do it really well with how
They do.
they approach it is really funny. Like it really is
And
good.
and the serious parts of Guacamelee are awesome. Like you see this giant monster that you learn is an alebrije, and even playing through this game, I didn't know what the hell an alebrije was. I didn't learn until I saw Coco. You know,
Mm. So it's not a gigante pollo?
no.
Pollo gigante. Sorry, I Americanized that. I put the
Yeah.
anyway. Yeah.
So I mean,
Sorry, wife
like
wolf.
if you play through the game and you don't know what something is, look it up. You'll be pleasantly surprised that you
Mm.
learn something interesting about the culture. It's great.
Yeah, they did their homework in a respectful way.
Nice.
I would say, at least for the most part. I can't confirm 100% because it's been a few years since I played, but I don't remember anything being like, ooh.
Other than the Nina of the Presidente.
So
Yeah,
I
I mean,
had
it is funny that the girl that you play as is named Tostada. Like,
Mhm.
they never explain it. It's just her name.
That's just their
so
name.
I had my mind palace up and running, and I looked over, and in apparently number 2, there's the chicken Illuminati. That's awesome. Like
That's pretty
that's
awesome.
awesome.
Yeah.
Like I want to watch this played now.
What came first, chicken or the egg? You'll never know because they cover it up. The chicken Illuminati controls the
Instead
means.
of the little triangle with the eye, it's a triangle with an egg in the center.
Yeah.
Well, they're time travelers. They can go
Forgot about
back in time.
My youngest, Sincerus is going to love this. My youngest, one day we kept making chicken puns, and he literally, he was like 12 years old, looks at everybody in the room and says, "I'm tired of all this bagockery."
Oh my god, I'm so proud.
It was perfect. Like everybody just fucking rolled on the floor.
That is great.
In a similar kind of anecdote, whenever I myself or my kids are having a rough day or they're in a bad mood, we'll go for a drive. And at some point in the drive, I will suggest that we start using our imaginations and pretending what would it sound like if we were driving through a field full of chickens. Now, I'm sorry, Peter, we would never actually really do this. Long live the chickens. But I defy anybody who's in a bad mood to go for a drive and just be driving around and just going, I know it's stupid. I'm sorry. My wife hates it when I do this, but chicken noises, if you imagine, it's the best.
I think
When
you
you
play a little
said-
too much Crossy Road there, GP.
When you
You know,
said
that's probably what it
driving
is.
through, when you said driving through a field of chickens, I didn't go to "you're running them over."
Oh yeah, no, you have to. That's part of the.
No, you
It's an imagination exercise. It's a
in
mind
the Stars
exercise.
world, you're driving to the left lane. Chickens only go to the right.
Well, now I need a Whack Donald's spicy chicken sandwich.
That's why they're so tender. They get hit by those vehicles. Bigockery. Anyway, it'll cheer you up. That's all I'm saying. Try it.
So
Try it now. Thank me
alright.
later. And sound off in Discord if you did it. And I mean this. At me on Discord, whatever. When you comment on it, because I want to read the comments. I'll take the mail on this one, guys.
So does anybody have any final thoughts on Guacamelee before we end this? Wrap it up.
I'm excited to actually continue playing it, honestly. Like I said, when I played it back in 2014, I got stuck. I don't think I understood Metroidvania to the level that I do now. And as long as I can get past the difficulty spike that I've hit, I've been loving it from front to back.
Yeah, for me, I mean, you guys know how much I really only play games that appreciate the player's time.
Snap.
I think if I can carve out some time from playing Marvel Snap, which I am collector level 360. Just to let you guys know, I put
Gosh.
quite
That's
a
a
bit in
high
there.
number. That's
Yeah,
a
Why
high
would I
number.
even try? I can't catch up to that.
But I think if I can put that aside, I think maybe my concern is like Metroidvanias can be kind of long at times, depending. Like I'm thinking like Hollow Knight. Hollow Knight was quite a long game for me anyway, 'cause I'm terrible at it. But I think after seeing the footage of you playing through it, realizing there's mod support, something about playing through this game as a tick in Spider-Man is hitting me the right way. I think I want to give it the shot, especially if it's only 9-10 hours. 9 hours is totally a reasonable amount of time to play through a game like this. And I think the humor is
yeah.
definitely a cut above similar games. So I do want to give it another honest shot. I wish I could get more time this week.
I mean,
Jake, I
you
don't
told
know
us
if you'll like it though, because what you need to know about the boss fights is that they're bots.
No,
All the way through?
And-
What if I hit level
and-
30, GP? Is it still bots then?
I don't know.
I
haven't
haven't gotten there. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I am
okay.
collector level 472 in Guacamelee.
Son of a
so,
bitch. All right.
But I
Up to
mean, you're
level
the one
30.
that you're the one that convinced us all to play Tunic. So you got 9 hours. Come on.
That is true. You guys did join me in that wonderful journey that keeps on giving.
Should we
Play,
switch
tu- play Tunic.
Should we switch the Tunic discussion in Discord to Marvel Snap?
I think nobody else is playing Tunic except for us. I think people gave up.
Yeah.
Oh,
maybe.
snap.
Oh,
I think there's a vibrant number of people who listen to the Presby podcast who are also avid Marvel Snap fans. Just, available
it's a
Sound
free
out
on
in
very slim
Discord.
Venn
Android.
diagram, my friend. But yeah, it exists.
Sound out in Discord. Jake would love to hear from you.
Yeah, if you play Marvel Snap, you let me know.
Yeah, he'll take you on. He's level 400.
Unfortunately, you can't. They don't have that. They don't have that feature yet.
Oh,
It's
So,
coming.
so
it's coming
GP,
soon.
are you waiting for the demake to Ness, or are you gonna play this?
No, I do want to download this one actually, and I'm already excited for the sequel. I don't know. I'm into it. Like I said, typically if I don't have any experience or anything, I think I can add to the conversation. I'll just say, hey, I can't make it this week, guys. Come up with some weird excuse like my car got hit or whatever. But no, this one I was excited to be a part of the chat, and the more I hear about it, especially from somebody with experience, the more excited I get to buy it and play it. So I think there should be a follow-up discussion, and we should definitely do an episode on the sequel sometime early next year.
All right.
Why wait that long? I'm glad you asked, audience. We have a whole list of awesome content coming for the rest of the year. You know how they say life is a marathon, not a sprint? We are sprinting this fucking marathon. Understand that. The goods are coming. The goods are coming.
PressBTocancel.com. Find us there.
Yes.
Yes.
Did I oversell it? I think I oversold it.
Sure.
Okay.
I had also, at the risk of the wife smacking me in the shoulder later, I will say that I have a bad habit of when I play this, I start to lean into the Mexican sounding voice
Oh, that's not
because
good.
I went to school in Southern California. Okay.
Uh-huh.
I knew a lot of guys who talk like that.
Hey,
And
vato.
I, like
¿Cómo se dice?
Cheech from Cheech and Chong, like that
Yeah.
sort of thing,
Yeah.
right?
Uh-huh.
And I tried not to. I was definitely trying not to with the kiddo, but just because that's every once in a while I make fun of the wife when she hurts herself, and I'll be like, "Ay ay ay," the B guy from The Simpsons, and get a slap in the shoulder.
That's
Oh.
okay. Before the internet comes after you, Wolf, I will say this: whatever that personality test is, like the NSFJ personality test, it's so in depth. I had taken that in college, and that is an actual characteristic trait that I have as well, and however many people have it, where they will kind of absorb the accents of the people around them, which I won't go into it now, but I spent a week once in Georgia, and it was interesting. Anyway,
So
that's a real thing.
So when you're surrounded by Michael Caine and people just want to watch the world burn.
Well, yes, eventually I'll get there. Eventually.
Yes, Monster Wine.
But no, honestly, so I grew up in a city that was predominantly Hispanic and Mexican, which Dodge City, Kansas. And so I think it was 78 to 82. No, I'm being 100%.
Is it really?
Yeah, like 78
Wow.
to 82%
Did
of
not
our
know that. That's
Yeah, I
our
didn't
high
wild.
school
realize that.
population is native Mexicans,
Oh,
or Spanish
okay.
speaking. And so for the longest time, that's why I took Spanish in high school, was because it was more relevant for me than French or anything else. But for the longest time, my honest to God, Spanish accent was like, "Hola," and I did that kind of as a joke early on, and it took me years to break. And I thought about bringing it
Rico.
back out for my little spiel at the top of the episode. But, "Hola,
All
mis
right,
amigos," and I love
all
that.
right,
Anyway, I just say,
I
don't
want
feel
to
bad. It's an actual characteristic trait. Was all I was saying.
give a couple honorable mentions for De los Muertos.
Dia de los Muertos. See,
Play Psychonauts. There's a
Psychonauts.
fantastic episode, or there's a fantastic level that is
Bueno,
this art style. Oh, yes. See.
sí, sí, bueno.
And then the other one is Double Fine Studios. Oh my gosh, why am I blanking on the Day of the Dead Double Fine game?
Oh, Grim Fandango.
Yeah, Grim Fandango. Yeah, both fantastic. Play them, play Guacamelee. Yeah.
Ay, pero no.
Uh
Claro
oh.
que no.
We've
Oh,
got
there it is.
Also, highly recommend you get yourself some Mexican art from legit
fuck
South
yeah.
Mexico. This
Love
is
it.
from
Fuck
Oaxaca,
yeah.
and I
Oaxaca.
love this thing. And the wife pointed out to me the other day that she's pretty sure this guy is also supposed to be an alebrije because there's a cross on the back of his chair here.
Huh.
Can't really see it from the front, but from the
Ah,
back.
okay.
And I mean, it's just super cool. He's got the sort of patterning that you would see on alebrijes. So
Hell yeah.
Love that.
Yeah. it's
found
pretty
that thing at a thrift store like 6 years ago, and it was I say thrift store, it was more of a secondhand store. It was $60 at the time, but the wife saw it and she was like, okay, it's a dog, Mexican art, looks like Oingo Boingo. So she brought me to check it out. She was like, do you like this? And I was like, absolutely, I like this.
Amor.
See.
So yeah, get
Hey,
yourself some
hey, hey,
Mexican
hey.
artwork. It's fucking beautiful.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Oh, I want some of the the velvet art that I'm talking about, where it's like the velvet back, right?
Yep.
And then they do the art.
Yeah.
I want some of that.
I think we have something like that too, but it's of flamingos. And then because we eventually, when we settle down and buy our own house, we actually want to do the backyard in bright Mexican colors. And
Hell yeah.
our chairs are already turquoise, prepared for it. We painted those years ago, but we're going to do the back in like pink and yellow and all sorts of wacky shit. And our neighbors are going to be like, what?
Rosa y amarillo. See.
Yeah.
Now I have to translate the rest of the episode.
Yeah.
See.
All righty. Well, thank everybody for listening.
Yes.
Pardonne me, YouTube.
Wow.
That was kind of bad.
It was. It was.
And that's
I've
being
understood
generous,
like
I think.
10% of this entire episode, so I don't know what the hell's going on.
Sorry, YouTube. Sorry, Wife Wolf.
Yes. Thank you, everybody, for listening. We appreciate you hanging out with us.
Yes.
You can find us on Press B to Cancel. You can find all our links on there. Or if you want to watch us on YouTube, if you're listening, you can find us at youtube.com/@Press B to Cancel. Yeah, it sounds weird, but they introduced
off the
handles.
tongue.
And so now that's our link on YouTube. So it's weird. Everybody will get used to it soonish. It's just not.
Yep.
And yeah, thank you all for listening. This has
Viva
been Press
Press
B to
B.
Cancel.
Yeah.
Yep.
Que tengo buen día.
Like, subscribe, all that happiness.
Yeah.
Yes,
Sorry.
please. Altamente recomendada.